I want to get your response to Russian professor Igor Panarin's prediction for the future of the U.S. I'm sure you're familiar with it, the possibility of the U.S. breaking up into regions. Some call this Russian propaganda. Some say the way the dollar is going, it could be a possibility if they don't get their North American Union plans in. What are your thoughts on some of the allegations he's made, things that could happen to the U.S.?
Well, what he's concerned about, and I think there is a legitimate point here, and that is that, as I argue in the book, it can come down to solutions. That fighting this globalism is going to have to start in localities and in states. There's local areas. I advise people at the end of the book, in the solutions part of the book, to look at living in smaller communities. And there are probably 200 communities in the United States now printing their own money. The Berkshire Mountains, for instance, there's Berkshires, which is a form of local currency. You buy it at the bank at a discount. And then you use that currency in local stores with merchants who are employing local people and selling goods made in America. It's legal. It's very similar to the script, like the frequent flyer miles that airlines use, which is another form of currency. It has value. And this kind of local community reaction against globalism, you'll see expanded to the state level, where states are looking to pass 9th and 10th Amendment resolutions, which say that 9th and 10th Amendments, of course, specify that powers not directly enumerated in the Constitution to the federal government are reserved to the states and to the people. And this is a reaction against using clauses like the General Welfare Clause in the Constitution to argue that the federal government can do whatever it wants. The 9th and 10th Amendments were meant to limit the General Welfare Clause to specifically enumerated powers. Now, some states begin to say to the federal government, we don't want your highway money. We don't want your hospital money. We don't want your welfare money. It's the beginning of a move where certain states could begin exerting sovereignty at the state level. You've got to remember, prior to the Civil War, certainly in the formation of the United States of America out of the Articles of Confederation, the sovereign entities were the states, not the national government. That was the secondary government formed to be a limited power, and the states were considered to be the primary sovereign in the equation. And I think there's going to be some consideration of returning to that. I mean, certainly if you took a state like Texas or Montana or the Dakotas, and or Oklahoma, and these states said, look, we're going to have laws against illegal immigrants. We're not going to give them benefits. We don't want federal welfare benefits. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to encourage local and private businesses. We're going to be a very business-friendly environment. I'm sure that these would be states people would flock to right now.
I want to point out to the audience, in part 3 of your book, it is 60 pages, and it does pertain to solutions quite a bit. 7 strategies for economic survival, that's in chapter 9, strategies for middle-class survival in economic hard times. Bring extended families back together, that's number 1. Number 2, relocate in small towns.